fast forward probably to like October of 2022, maybe September, October, maybe September. I was at work and I get a text message from the broker, and he's like, the Gowanus landlord is back. Their deal fell through. Are you even open to talking about it?
Yeah.
And like my feelings were kind of hurt.
Sure.
It's like, do I really want to go back there and do that? And obviously we would have to renegotiate the deal because
everything has changed.
It's different. And so, but still, it's like, all right. I was a little less emotionally attached. So it's like, let's try.
Yeah.
This is what I'm willing to do at this point.
So you felt like, okay, he threw the ball back in your court, and you like felt a little bit more like, I'm gonna dictate things the way I want to before like I get too over-invested again.
And see where they stand on this to see if like we can work together.
Yeah.
And the landlord understood that. So it was like a good sign that that's how, he wasn't expecting the same deal.
Sure.
Understanding what has happened.
Yeah. He's licking his wounds too, right? Like with that deal, another deal that fell through. So
exactly. And wants to fill the space and has to start again. At least it's with somebody who knows it. So renegotiate the LOI. Every single thing takes another week or two, right? Every little
red line,
takes more time. And also with that whole chicken and egg situation, I'm negotiating an LOI, but at the same time I need to make sure it works and I can back it.
Yeah.
Like so if I sign a bad deal or something, that can also be catastrophic.
Yeah.
So we negotiated the LOI. That took a few months. And then I got more support from that because, it's becoming more real. It's building up again. The other broker's not telling me that he's also considering it with some other offer. We were working together a lot more at this point.
Yeah.
And based on how the last one went, I was going to be skeptical until I was actually sent a lease draft.
Yeah.
Because that would make it much more real.
So the LOI, explain a little bit for people who don't understand, there's the LOI, there's the lease. What happens between, what does it mean to sign an LOI versus what does it mean to sign a lease?
Yep. So signing an LOI, these kind of LOI are a little bit meaningless. What they are is they're the high-end deal terms of it. Like, what is the lease term going to be? Roughly, what is the rent going to be? Who are the entities, and any kind of special high-level deal terms that would be included. So it looks like one page.
Got it.
A lease is 70 pages, but this is one page that's just the deal terms. And what you do when you sign an LOI is you're essentially agreeing to work in good faith together to work out an agreement.
Yeah.
So you're agreeing that yes, this is the high level terms. Typically then a lawyer takes those high level terms and takes those and works them into a lease.
Yeah, got it. So what are the consequences of both of you sign an LOI, and then what happens if something between then and the lease signing breaks down?
So certainly things sometimes change and you renegotiate certain components, but you also really don't want to because, like I was saying before, it's this marriage, it's this long-term relationship. So you really want to develop trust and a degree of seriousness that what I say is my word is my word.
Yeah.
Like on that last letter of intent, he didn't countersign it, right? So I can't hold him to it.
Sure, yeah.
But when you actually do have we got a pickleball rolling through, there it goes. When you actually do have one, it's not a good look.
Yeah, to back out.
To back out and to, you're not bound by anything, you can, but it's a major red flag.
Yeah.
You can revise if you find something totally different about the building you didn't know,
sure,
you can revise. There's negotiation in it, but if everything is kind of the way it seems and what it should be.
Yeah.
So you negotiate the security deposit, the extent of any guarantee and what that looks like. All those things that matter a lot to the landlord and matter a lot to the tenant.
Yeah.
And then the rest is just very important details.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our lease negotiation took a very long time. The longest lease negotiation, lease draft I've ever done in my entire legal career.
So what is
and
a long
that's not
time?
because
You were
no, it just happened to be in this one. This one was a slog, which emotionally was draining.
Yeah, but were you ever at a point where you're like, it's gotten to the point where you're not sure, or is just like it's just so much? It's like felt like pulling teeth a little bit.
Definitely unsure.
Okay.
Because there's a history of it already falling out.
Sure. Yeah.
I have a history of others falling out, and definitely unsure because there's a lot of red lines, and some of those details are really important.
Yeah.
I did not represent myself.
Sure.
So that way I wouldn't be so emotionally invested. I'd read it and give high-level thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But I had my lawyers and put it in their hands, and I think they're excellent. But sometimes what it really took to get this lease done was reaching out directly to the landlord several times and creating a list of the high-level business issues that seem to be lingering in the lease, and for the two of us to really talk about it and understand where each other's coming from, so we can, again, on a high level, come to an agreement and then translate that to the attorneys.
Yeah, right. Did you feel like, I often say that a good negotiation is one where nobody kind of leaves happy, right?
So
where everyone leaves a little bit something on the table, right?
Yeah, so I would flip it. So it's not where no one leaves happy. I would say a good negotiation is where everyone leaves happy. Because I always think there's a solution where we can all feel good about it.
Sure, yeah.
Rather than both parties feel badly about it.
Yeah. No, that's a good way to flip it.
And so I found that, and I think someone did too, that we can work together well. And I think that also reinforced our own relationship and our own ability to move forward and have confidence in this process.
Yeah.
And that's worked well, but New York is hard. I know.
Yeah.
New York real estate is difficult. And commercial tenants, landlords, everyone is a little scarred, especially then coming out of COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of landlords had tenants where they suffered a lot of issues. A lot of tenants have had landlords who don't do certain things. A lot of our time, before you sign a lease, there's so much due diligence to be done. So could someone sign it in 3 weeks? Yes. There's no way you will have done your due diligence by then.
Right.
And before you go into such a substantial venture, there's a lot to be done.
Yeah.
And that's an inspection of the entire building, right? And it's an inspection for environmental stuff and for structural things and for zoning laws.
And that's all before lease signing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zoning laws, liquor licensing laws, and ability.
Yeah. That's very important for the model, I'm sure.
It's and you don't want to. It is, and you don't want to go down the road where you find out we're zoned for a certain kind of thing, and we actually can't do this permitted use here.
Yeah.
Or we would need all sorts of special permission that we can't necessarily rely on because we might be in a lease and then not get that.
Right.
Or you find out you're zoned as this kind of a thing, and if you build this kind of pickleball place, then you have a parking requirement. And you're like, oh wait, I know we needed a parking requirement. Well, there goes the whole business.
Yeah.
Where am I going to pick up a parking lot for this?